Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanang Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayang Mudiraye Krishna. So we are reading from 10th canto, 60th chapter, text 45, chapter entitled Krishna Teases Rukmini. All of you please repeat after me. Tvaksmasruno manakhake shapi nathamanta Mam sasti rakta krimibit kaphapittavatam Jivatsavam bhajati kantamatir vimudha Yate padabjamakarandamajigrati stri Tvaksmasruro manakhake shapinadamanta Mam sasti rakta krimibit kaphapittavatam Jivatsavam bhajati kantamatir vimudha Yate padabjamakarandamajigrati stri Tvaksmasruro manakhake shapinadamanta मांसास्ति रक्तकृमिवीट कफपित्तवातम् जीवत्सवं भजति कान्तमतिर्विमूढा या ते पदाब्जमकरन्दमजीकृति स्त्री yes. Tvaksmashruromakakeshapinatta Tvaksmasruromanakakeshamapinaddamanta te padabjamakarandamajigrati stri Tvaksmashruromanakakeshapinaddamanta Mamsasti raktakrimibeet kafapittavatam Jivan savan prajati kantamatir bimudha Yate padabjamakarandamajigrati stri Vaishnavis Tvaksmashruromanakakeshapinaddamanta Mamsasti raktakrimibeet kafapittavatam Jivam savam bhajati kantamatir bimudha Yate padabjamakarandamajigrati stri Word to word translation, and purport by his disciples of divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Tvak, with skin, smasru, whiskers, roma, bodily hair, nakha, nails, kesha, and hair on the head, pinadham, covered, antaha, inside, mamsa, flesh, asti, bones, rakta, blood, krimi, worms, bit, stool, kapha, mucus, pitta, bile, bata, and the air, jivat, living, savam, a corpse, bhajati, worships, kanta, as husband or lover, mati, whose idea, bimudha, totally bewildered, ya, who, te, your, padabja, of the lotus feet, makaranda, the honey, ajigrati, not smelling, stri, woman. Translation. A woman who fails to relish the fragrance of the honey of your lotus feet becomes totally befooled, and thus she accepts as her husband or lover a living corpse covered with skin, whiskers, nails, head hair, body hair, and filled with flesh, bones, blood, parasites, feces, mucus, bile, and air. Hare Krishna. Purport. Here, Lord Krishna's chaste wife makes a quite univocal statement about the material sense gratification based on the physical body. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments on as follows on this verse: on the authority of the statement Savai Pati Syat Akuto Bhaya Swayam. He indeed should become one's husband who can remove all fear. Sri Krishna is the real husband for all women at all times. Thus, a woman who worships someone else as her husband simply worships a dead body. Hare Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments further, Rukmini thus considered that although the sweetness of Lord Krishna's lotus feet is well known, and although he possesses an eternal body full of knowledge and bliss, foolish women reject him. An ordinary husband's body is covered on the outside by skin and hair, otherwise being filled with blood, faces, flesh, bile, and so on. It would be overwhelmed with flies and other vermin, attracted by its bad smell and other offensive qualities. Those who have no practical experience of the beauty and the purity of Krishna or Krishna consciousness may be confused by such uncompromising denunciations of material bodily gratification. But those who are enlightened in Krishna consciousness will be enlivened and enthused by such absolutely truthful statements. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Nilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Auravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya De Satarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Taru Vashya Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnamebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya. Hare Krishna. This is an uncompromised, truthful verse. I don't know if the Bollywood industry reads about this verse. What would be their comments? The entire movie industry is based on the loving affairs of a boy and a girl, which is so much portrayed, glorified, and glamorized. But according to Srimad Bhagavatam, all those interactions, whatever is being portrayed in the movies or in the stories or in the novels, are simply interaction of two stool making machines. That's what is Srimad Bhagavatam speaking. We see Rukmini Devi, who is epitome of beauty, and is giving this remark about the obnoxious nature of this material body and how the material energy has created such a nice package, thin microfilm package, to help us get rid of this truth that is being spoken so much in uncompromised way in this verse. In the purport to this commentary to this verse, Jiva Goswami picks up some verse from somewhere. I forgot the name of the person, some learned person. And Jiva Goswami says that these explanations what are given, a lot of things mentioned by Rukmini Devi. If you see skin, whiskers, I was thinking, what is whiskers? The first time I heard, and then I came to know from Google, Prabhu, that it is something called beard. And um, actually, there is a lot to be told about whiskers. We'll just discuss about whiskers little later. so, we will do a dissection of this verse. Anyway, so Jiva Goswami says all these skin, whiskers, nails, head hair, and body hair, they are just an external covering and of the internal reality of everyone's material body. And he quotes a verse saying that if this small thin millimeter of skin would not have been there, then everyone, whether it is the most beautiful lady in the entire universe or is the most handsome man in the entire universe, will all have to hold sticks. I wonder why he has to hold a stick. Jiva Goswami says he has to hold a stick to ward off the dogs and the crows from his or her body because the inside is so horrible and is only attractive to the dogs and crows. Hare Krishna. He quotes from somewhere. This purport doesn't mention because more uncompromising truth. So this is how the reality of our body is. To be little bit making it more gender diverse, as is the nomenclature of today's world, we would just do a little bit of alteration of the translation of this verse. A man who fails to relish the fragrance of the honey of your lotus feet becomes totally befooled, and thus he accepts as his wife or lover a living corpse covered with skin, whiskers, nails, head hair, body hair, filled with flesh, bones, blood, parasite, fishes, mucus, bile, and air. So whether it is a man or a woman, man attracted to a woman or a woman attracted to the man, we need to accept this uncompromising reality that how such miserable, obnoxious condition I have got into it. Kapila Dev explains in the movements of living entities. There is a chapter, if you read in the 3rd canto, how the living entity is born. That which I don't know, we quote this chapter often in our DUI sessions, that this is the proof of what is that, gynecology or microbiology and all. Yes, I used to always wonder, what is this chapter? What is this chapter? Let me read it. My goodness, it's a very horrible chapter. How the lump of flesh. And then I thought, in order to just little bit analyze more, because I have my own intelligence to analyze. Let me hear a lecture by my Gurudev on this chapter. It's really horrible. Maharaj starts with the lecture saying that living entity which was supposed to be Gopa and Gopi in the spiritual world is identifying with a lump of a flesh in the abdomen of a mother, filled with worms, pus, mucus, and amniotic fluid. Hare Krishna. Now, now it may be very obnoxious, but we need to understand. If we need to get out of this situation, we need to first understand where we are put in. And we need to understand what an illusion it is. When many years before, I used to take classes, mathematics classes. And sometimes the course doesn't get over. Actually, 11th and 12th, the course is very vast. So my course was a little bit lagging, so I thought that I will take an extra class in the morning at 7 o'clock. So I called all the students, 11th and 12th, at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I got up in the morning, we did Sistastakam, chanted my rounds, and went to the institute, which was just nearby, where we were staying. And all the students had already gathered by the time I had reached, the boys and the girls, almost about 80 students in one classroom. And as I entered the classroom, I was about to vomit. I came out running and called the person who was taking care of the cleaning at the institute. We had appointed one person. Said, I just can't enter the classroom. And he said, what happened? What happened, Prabhu? So he went, said, everything is normal. The boys and girls are sitting. And again I entered, and it was such an obnoxious smell. I asked the boys and girls, my students, how many of you have taken bath and brushed your teeth? 90% had come to the class without brushing their teeth and not taking bath. I called for the person, boy. I made him to put room freshener. And I said that the regulative principle for coming to my class is that you need to brush and take bath. And this is the condition of a sweet 16 boy and a girl, if he or she does not take a bath and brush one time. The entire movie industry glorifies, now we have reached the pinnacle of the youth, the sweet 16. And this is the obnoxious reality of the sweet 16. I will not get into more details about the realities. Similarly, I was talking with one cancer hospital doctor, and they were telling about one patient who had got admitted in their hospital. She was a 34-year-old lady who had got intestinal cancer. And sometimes when you have this intestinal cancer, you see the intestine is a membrane, if you have read a little bit of biology. And it contains all these what is being mentioned. It contains stool, bile, air, mucus, flesh, everything. And because of the cancer, the intestine was ruptured. And the entire body was smelling exactly like stool. And the husband who married the girl just 2 years before, and it was a love marriage, was not ready to even touch his own wife. And the lady died miserably, not because of the pain of the disease, But because of the pain of the reality, this is what is the reality of the material world. So the doctor was telling me, the lady died more of a depression than of the cancer. And we all know about how dangerous lives becomes of those acid victims, of how people, when they threw acid on ladies, and they just become completely outcast from the society. Just because little bit their skin is in different orientation. Whether it is a fair skin or a dark skin or little bit distorted skin because of being little bit of distorted because of the acid, inside it's everything same. Whether it's a boy or a girl, the inside is same. And how much we are attracted to this obnoxious reality, and how the love of this world is being portrayed, and how the love is so thin as this membrane of skin that covers all these obnoxious substances. And as soon as that skin is lost, all that is being glorified as love in this world. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaurang Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All that is glorified as love in this world vanishes, disappears. Many of the models who, like we see in different models in the novels and the magazines and all this, they in just their late 30s, after 35, they die miserably, sometimes committing suicide. Many of the best of the actress, most beautiful actress, their bodies were found decomposed in their homes. After 5 days, they have died and committed suicide out of depression and alcoholism. Because as soon as that small, thin layer of the skin just vanishes, its fade and color and little bit of glitter, they become cheap in the market. And that's how we have created a market of packaged stool machines. And when we are dealing with that and the emotions that arises from it, we call it love. And we call it love. So we need to understand this uncompromising reality that is being explained in this purport. This is the reality. More we accept this reality, it may be very harsh, but more we accept this reality. This is how the body is. More and more we can take this message of Krishna consciousness very seriously. Otherwise, we are simply dead. We are trying to love a dead, and we ourselves are dead. But there is another reality. Because there is so much of stool and urine and all these things, so let us give some examples so that we understand all these things. So when all devotees had not come, I just had started doing some preaching here at Newtown. So one time one couple came. At that time there was no temple, nothing. This kutir was there. So this couple came with a small baby. So, and this lady was bent upon, Swamiji, Prabhuji, you have to take a photograph with my baby. I said, no, you hold your baby and then we 3 of us, 4 of us and take a photograph. No, Swamiji, just once. And I said, okay. And I took the baby. And when I took the baby made its first innings of supreme mercy. I just took the baby and I just kept it, and I was just about to turn his face to the camera, and then the person would say smile and smile, and I was smiling, and I felt that something is becoming weight. And I said, oh no. And practically, and the baby was, I think it had not urinated for a long time. So it was like continuously coming out, coming out. And I said, what is this? You take it. And oh, sorry, Prabhuji, sorry, Prabhuji. And the husband came and said, oh, Prabhuji, sorry, sorry. And the baby, I think he got afraid seeing my saffron color or whatever. He was not stopping only. Continuously he was pouring out the rains of his mercy. Prabrashaitam. And the mother took the lady who was so afraid of my dress or whatever, my looks, and was just urinating more and more and more. And mother was, and this lady, the boy started urinating so much, entire upper portion of the lady was completely drenched with urine. Hopefully, it didn't become the second innings. Only urine, not stool came out. But it was completely drenched. And immediately I said, I will have to go to washroom now. So I went to the washroom, I took bath, I changed, and they were just sitting peacefully. The lady didn't even go to the washroom. That time this washroom was not there. There is that same washroom. I said, you go to the washroom. No, 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 I'm fine. And I was just wondering how it is fine. And the urine was not smelling like the agru in the DT department. It was smelling exactly like urine. And the mother had no feelings of remorse, no feelings of any obnoxious things, just accepting it as prasad of her son. So what is obnoxious? Recently, I was sharing with many devotees as I was coming in this door at 12 o'clock to take darshan, because one family had come. I came down. One lady was just sitting where Harsit Prabhu was sitting, taking darshan of Nitai Gauranga. So, and this, I was looking like this, like when you walk down, you also understand who is sitting what. And I could sense that a lady is sitting with her baby. The baby was dressed in red velvet cloth or something. I could see that baby. And I took darshan of Nitai Gauranga. And that couple was standing there. So I called them, come near, we'll have some puja. And while I looked at the couple, I could look at the lady also. And mind you, the lady was not holding her baby. The lady was holding the dog. Real dog, not a Barbie dog. Not a soft toy. It was actually a dog dressed in velvet, red, silken garments. And I was like, I forgot the couple, I forgot Nitai Gauranga, I forgot everything. And I said, and Santanu Prabhu was just standing near Prabhupada and said, oh, I was just roaming here and there. Because the lady was also dressed in such a way that I felt that I cannot speak with the lady also. So it may be offensive. I don't know what will be her reaction. I was telling Santanu, this is dog. It's a dog. What if it urinates and passes stool in this temple hall? This is a dog. Remove. Tell that lady. And Santanu was telling, I am also seeing Prabhuji for a long time. I said, what is meaning of seeing for a long time? Do something. Send her out. And then Chandrasekhar came, and I was about to tell Chandrasekhar, just see. And this lady, or maybe I don't know, she understood or what, she just walked away. And I felt so relieved. And this lady was walking with the dog exactly like the baby. And then the couple went away, and all those things happened. And then um, I called that boy who stands with the thick specs. I don't know what his name is. Sapan. I called Sapan and started shouting, "Don't you have any same? Don't you have any understanding that dogs are not allowed in temple hall? How did you allow that lady with the dog?" So, dog? It was her son. So, that boy with such a thick glass could not realize that it was not the dog, it was the son. I said, "Dandavad Pranam to the illusion of the world." The lady is already in illusion. More than that, we are in illusion. And more than that, the security of our temple is in illusion. And what do you think that the dog is? It's easy to tolerate the smell of the urine of your boy and a girl. What do you think that the dog is all very, very. It also does whatever the human beings do in the most abominable way. Uh, where we have taken a flat in Sapuji where Visma Prabhu stays, the one couple were staying and they had two dogs. And the dogs would urinate and pass stool in that balcony. And in our room, with our doors closed, windows closed, everything closed, we could not stay. We had to put regularly room freshener. So it's an advanced version of stool, the dog stool. And people live with them. "Oh, no, you just my dog has passed the stool in our room. No problem." They sleep with them. They pick up their stool. Why? Srila Prabhupada said, if you do not serve God, you will have to serve dog. But after going to Sapurji, I realized what Srila Prabhupada used to say, because I never visited West. Sometimes it takes to see the reality, then you understand, oh, what Srila Prabhupada would be seeing in the Western countries. So the second reality is, though there is so much of obnoxious reality, and it's not that the person is not able to smell the obnoxious things of the urine and stool, but there is so much of service attitude which has got perverted. So more than the illusion of the body, the illusion actually lies in our heart. So the real obnoxious thing are present in the heart to consider asatyere satya karimani. Nitai Padakamala, in that song, Narottam Das Thakur says, anyone who does not accept the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu, he considers asatyere satya karimani. He considers the obnoxious reality and illusion of this world as the reality, love, service of this world. And how much, now this I spoke in a very derogatory term. I would like to speak a small story in a more, of a more positive quality of how one can have this service attitude towards such obnoxious things. So I used to take care of one doctor couple. So they were posted in Raurkela, and in these places, Raurkela, Sundargarh, and all these places in Odisha, many of these places are filled with Christian missionaries. A lot of Christian missionaries are there. They do a lot of good work, and they do also a lot of good conversion and whatever it is. Let's not get into details, but they do very good work sometimes. So, so this lady was telling that there was one sweeper who used to pick up garbage and rags from their colony. The sweeper had got some leprosy, and slowly, in matter of 1 year, the leprosy spread so much and so much and so much. Practically, the explanation that the lady gave was like the explanation of Basudev leper. There were pus and mucus, and there were worms in his body. And one time, the lady, who is a doctor herself, working in the steel plant hospital, this lady saw this sweeper had come. And sometimes when you have so much leprosy, your limbs actually melt. And he could not stand, and he fell down in the garbage like this. This lady called the hospital, her own hospital. She is the medical officer in the hospital. So many nurses and officers came to pick this man out. But the man was smelling in such obnoxious way, the pus and everything. So all the officers, all the nurses went back to the hospital. They said that we can't even touch this body. And this, because it just happened near her neighbor's side, and she is a doctor, and she was telling, I am a doctor, I have touched so much of flesh and urine and stool and everything. Even I was completely feeling bad to even go near that man. And then she realized that some people used to come and remark about some Christian missionaries in Rourkela. So she immediately called that Christian missionary, and one man came. One man came in a van, ambulance sort of van. This man got down. This man went near this man. He just carried this man on his own back and went to the Christian missionary without feeling any remorse or any guilt or anything bad about it. And this lady, who's a doctor, she was feeling shocked. Just imagine what an attitude to serve. So she said, I was so impressed by that Christian missionary that I started regularly visiting that Christian missionary, not to understand, but to understand how they are taking care of this man. And in just 1 year, they took so nice care of this man. This man was with bandages and everything, and he became a sweeper in that Christian missionary. And this lady was telling, this is service, which after practicing so many years of becoming a doctor, I have not got in my heart. And you pray, he said, you are a devotee of Krishna, you pray to your Krishna that someday I get this attitude to serve. Then I would consider that I have become a doctor. Otherwise, I have not become a doctor. So we see that when this service attitude manifests in the heart of a person, he completely forgets what is obnoxious, what is not obnoxious. And our dear Srila Prabhupada, day before yesterday, we had a celebration in Uniworld. And as I entered the banquet hall, it's a nice banquet hall, I was feeling like vomiting. It was stinking with smells of non-veg. And everyone just peacefully sitting. There were 200 people peacefully sitting there. And I immediately called one devotee. I said, I am going out back to Gosala. I will vomit here. I said, where is the smell, Prabhu? I'm not able to understand. I said, whether you are understanding or not, I am understanding. You bring a room freshener, and otherwise I am going. And then this person inquired and found out that yesterday, where the program, on the Sunday program we had, and Saturday there was a big program in the banquet hall, and there was a lot of non-veg being served, and the smell was coming out from there. Now this is a little bit of non-veg that was served one day before in a banquet hall which was very much cleaned. Consider Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was staying in Sally Agarwal's house. In her refrigerator was beef in which he was searing his boiled potatoes. In the 26th, the 2nd Avenue, what is that book called by Mukunda Maharaj? Miracles of the... Miracles on the 2nd Avenue. Mukunda Maharaj, one time many years before, there was, when ISKCON 50 was there, a lot of Prabhupada disciples giving classes. And he was giving class and telling that the striking fragrance of the Bowery Street was wine and urine and drugs. The hippies would sometimes not take bath for months, and their body would be fragrant with the urine because they would be stoned with drugs, and they would never go to pass urine. They would just urinate in their pants. And such type of people used to visit Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada used to feed them, used to wash their plates. So this is service attitude. Now, a mundane service attitude of a mother, little higher is the service attitude of a humanitarian, but is the highest is the service attitude of a devotee. So if we do not have service attitude, then we are simply a dead person. We are Saba, as here it is said, Saba. Because we are simply a stool making machine, and we are simply attracted to another stool making machine just to enjoy and exploit. But higher reality is when we start living, is when we give up this enjoying tendency and develop this attitude to serve. So long our heart has not developed the attitude to serve, we are dead. And we are giving the smell, obnoxious smell of a dead person. Though we may be living, but we are actually dead because our heart is simply wanting to enjoy the stool and urine bodies of this world. So a person becomes living when he develops this attitude to serve. And when this attitude to serve develops in a person, in the beginning, the person's attitude to serve is limited to just his or her family members, which is also very rare nowadays. And it goes on extending as a humanitarian worker, which I said. But the highest expression of service is what Srila Prabhupada and all our devotees have exhibited, is to connect a person illusioned in this world to the lotus feet of Krishna. Yate padabcha makaranda. To the nectar of the lotus feet of Krishna. So if we are not having service attitude, then we are dead. If we are having service attitude, then we are living. But if our service attitude to other person doesn't help him to connect with the Supreme, then we are living dead. That's what Rukmini Devi says. So I hope now you understood what I am trying to speak. So I was just trying to analyze Jivan Sava. This Jivat Savam. Sava means he is dead. He is dead to the illusions of this world. He is simply trying to exploit and enjoy this world, enjoy the obnoxious enjoyment of this world. A living person is a higher grade person. He knows that this world is obnoxious. He knows that this world is illusory, but he wants to serve. And because he is serving, he is living. But if that service becomes like the service of any humanitarian worker, which does not connect, yate padabja makaranda, doesn't connect to the nectar of Krishna's lotus feet, then that person who is living is actually a living dead, jivat savam. Because just by feeding more and more to a person, this more and more person is going to make more and more stool. That's it. What next? But if you feed him prasadam, he will still make stool. Devotees make stool. But he is going to get rid of this obnoxious stool making machine and go to the spiritual world. Yes? And that's how we see in ISKCON, especially His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he had some of his disciples who were doctors, and he inspired them. He inspired them to, they would have anyway worked in some other hospitals and done some service. But he inspired them to create a hospital which comes above this category, and it's actually a living hospital. They just don't give life to the bodies which are already dead. They actually bring life in their Krishna consciousness. So many devotees annually. One time in 5 years before, there was a report given to the GBCs about the annual turnover of the devotees that Bhakti Vedanta Hospital makes every year. People just come and take darshan of Jagannath, just see the doctors who are devotees, and they just get so mesmerized, they become devotees, chant Hare Krishna. They become 16-rounded devotee, they get initiated. So, service brings life to a person who is dead because of this illusory reality. But when that service is connected with Krishna, to the nectar of Krishna, then it becomes real life. Otherwise, that service also makes a person living dead. And just last story I would mention about Lord Chaitanya's Leela. When Gaur Purnima was there, His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj was explaining about the Dwadasa names of Lord Chaitanya, and the first name is Chaitanya, the life force. So in Puri, in Odisha, when Lord Chaitanya came for the first time, no one believed that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The news went to the king, Prataprudra. And everyone started telling to the king that one great saintly person has come. He's a sannyasi, he's a saintly person. And Prataprudra Maharaj believed also that he is a very great saintly person. But he could not understand that why in Bengal people are claiming him to be God. He's a saintly person. He has devotion to God. He has emotions to God. He is not God. So Prataprudra Maharaj was also having this notion that Lord Chaitanya is simply a saintly person. And Prataprudra Maharaj used to keep updated about what Lord Chaitanya is doing. And Prataprudra Maharaj heard that Lord Chaitanya transformed the administrator, the main guru of Puri temple, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And then he got little doubt. But then he could not get an audience with Lord Chaitanya, because after delivering Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, immediately Lord Chaitanya went for a South Indian preaching tour. And Prataprudra Maharaj used to remain updated And Prataprudra Maharaj heard one story which convinced him that this person is not saintly, is not just an ordinary saintly person. He is God. He is incarnation of Krishna. And the story is, when Lord Chaitanya was going to South India, through South India, there was a leper called Basudev. And this Basudev leper wanted to meet Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya left in the morning and went long distance, and this Basudev leper felt so bad, and he had so much of leprosy that practically worms were there all over his body. And they used to fall from his body, and he would pick it up and keep it back in his body. And Lord Chaitanya came back to give his darshan and mercy to Basudev leper, and he actually embraced Basudev leper and made his body exactly similar to like a molten golden body. And when Prataprudra Maharaj heard this, and this Basudev leper started chanting Hare Krishna in love of God, and when Prataprudra Maharaj heard this story, he claimed that there have been many saints who have come and cured lepers. There have been many saints who have lived a life of humanitarian activities to help people alleviate from poverty, disease. But here is not a saintly person. Only the Supreme Lord can embrace a leper and can transform the body to golden, and not just the body to golden, but the heart to golden, so that the heart is simply chanting Hare Krishna and developing spiritual emotions in love of God. And this incident convinced Prataprudra that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Person. He is the living force. And when we try to connect everyone whom we meet with the Supreme Lord, with the nectar of the lotus feet of Nitai Gauranga, then that service helps us to come out from this obnoxious condition of being a living, dead, stool-making machine of this world. And that is what Rukmini Devi is speaking. That anyone who has not experienced the beauty, the fragrance, the purity of Krishna consciousness, or anyone who is not trying his level best, trying hard to help others relish the fragrance of the lotus feet of Krishna, even if he is serving in the capacity of the most dedicated humanitarian worker in this world, he is simply a living dead. Jivat Savam, according to Rukmini Devi. And that's how Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, asked us, all of us, to try hard to make our lives perfect by becoming Krishna conscious, and try to help others to become Krishna conscious in whatever activities. If you want to give food to someone, give prasadam. If you want to give a song to someone, give him a kirtan. If you want to do a celebration keeping Krishna in the center. Then this obnoxious reality of the material world will vanish, and will help it will help us to realize our reality in spiritual world, and also help others to realize that reality. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Rukmini Krishna Sambad ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Prabhupada.